Ladies and gentlemen, it's a world where devils aren't just spooky bedtime stories, they're real, they're savage, and they're out here munching on human fears like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Enter Chainsaw Man, that wild, blood-soaked anime masterpiece from Mappa Studios, where every episode feels like a fever dream of chainsaws, contracts, and questionable life choices. And right in the thick of this devilish frenzy, our boy Angel Devil. Yeah, that Angel Devil, the pink-haired, halo-crowned enigma who's equal parts adorable disaster and heartbreaking hero. Buckle up, because tonight, we're zooming through his complete life story, anime style, full of high-stakes action, gut-wrenching feels, and those, why does it hurt so good? Let's rewind the clock all the way back before Tokyo's blood-soaked streets, before Makima's honey-sweet voice ever slithered into his ears, before the public safety uniforms and the endless paperwork and the naps on the rooftop under a hazy summer sun. Let's go back to the very first frame of the Angel Devil's existence, the moment the universe decided to pull the most twisted shonen prank imaginable, a devil born not from the fear of fire, blood, or darkness, but from the fear of angels themselves. Imagine hell the way Fujimoto draws it, an endless crimson sky bleeding upside-down oceans, mountains made of screaming faces, rivers of black tar that whisper your worst memories on loop. It's the kind of backdrop that would make even Berserk's eclipse look like a picnic. And somewhere in that nightmare landscape, a concept begins to stir. Humanity, in all its beautiful contradiction, has started trembling at the idea of celestial beings. Not the chubby baby cupids on Valentine's cards, no. They're scared of the real deal. Towering, flaming wheel-covered seraphim with 1,000 eyes that never blink, silent reapers in white robes who show up at your deathbed with a polite smile and a flaming sword, messengers who burn cities when the boss upstairs is in a bad mood. Mortals started whispering bedtime stories about angels who don't save you, they judge you, they collect you, they end you. And every time a child woke up crying from a dream of wings blotting out the moon, every time an old man crossed himself at the thought of the angel of death hovering invisible in the hospital room, that fear pooled together like cursed energy in a domain expansion. Then, one day, the fear reached critical mass. A blinding pillar of pure white light punches straight down through hell's roof like a Bankai reveal. Devils for miles around shield their eyes, even the primordial ones flinch. The light condenses, folds in on itself, and out steps a boy. Barefoot, silver hair drifting like silk in a non-existent breeze, skin so pale it looks like moonlight solidified. Massive white wings fold lazily against his back, feathers edged in the faintest gold. Above his head floats a perfect, glowing halo, spinning slowly like it's bored already. His eyes, one sunset orange, one lemon yellow, stare out at the infernal wasteland with the sleepy confusion of someone who just woke up from a 1,000-year nap and can't find the snooze button. He has no name yet. In hell, devils usually roar their titles the second they manifest. I am the gun devil. Bow before me, or, falling is my domain, mortals. But this one just tilts his head, yawns, and mumbles, huh, so this is the place everyone's scared of. His voice is soft, almost melodic, the kind of voice that could narrate a tragic ending theme while you ugly cry into your body pillow. The other devils circle him like sharks. A devil made of chains and screaming mouths lunges first, because newbies are easy pickings. Angel doesn't even look. He raises one slender hand, almost lazily, and the attacker turns to ash mid-snarl. The leftover lifespan, decades, centuries, drifts into Angel's palm and crystallizes into a shimmering spear of pure light. He glances at it like someone who just found a random French fry in their takeout bag. Weird, he mutters, and tosses it over his shoulder. It explodes behind him and levels a mountain. He doesn't notice. He's already walking away, wings dragging in the dust, looking for a nice rock to nap on. That's the first glimpse we ever get of just how broken the rules are with this guy. Devils are supposed to be raw terror given form, but Angel moves like he's the protagonist of a chill slice of life show that accidentally wandered onto the set of a gore fest. He's beautiful in the way a falling guillotine is beautiful, serene, inevitable, and completely uninterested in your opinion about it. The halo isn't decoration, it's a warning label. The wings aren't for flying, they're a death flag for anyone dumb enough to reach out and touch. Hell quickly learns to give him space. Even the heavy hitters, the ones who could solo city blocks, feel something ancient and wrong when they look at him. It's not power, it's finality. Like staring at the last page of a book and realizing the story ends with you. They start calling him Angel, in the same tone you'd use for, "Don't touch that, it's cursed." He accepts the name the way a cat accepts whatever stupid nickname you give it, with mild indifference. For eons or maybe just a long afternoon, times weird down there, Angel wanders the underworld, napping in craters, collecting random lifespan weapons he never bothers to use, and occasionally waking up to find some warlord devil has built a throne out of the bones of anyone who tried to challenge him while he was asleep. He never fights back, he just sighs, stands up, stretches those impossible wings, and the throne and its owner quietly cease to exist. Then he finds a new rock. But even devils can get homesick, or curious, or maybe just bored out of their immortal skulls. One day, Angel looks up at the distant pinprick of light that is the human world and thinks, why not? He spreads his wings, not dramatically like a final boss, more like someone opening an umbrella because it might rain, and steps through the tear between worlds the way you or I would step onto a train. He falls, not in the cool, meteor-crashing way. He literally trips out of hell's sky like a drunk pigeon and face plants on a sandy beach in some nowhere coastal village in Japan. The impact leaves a crater shaped like a sleepy angel. Fishermen find him half buried, wings twitching, halo flickering like a dying light bulb. Any sane village would have grabbed torches and called an exorcist. Instead, an old grandma pokes him with a rake and goes, "Poor thing looks hungry." And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the exact moment the Angel Devil's real story begins, not with fire and brimstone, but with miso soup and second chances, because in the end, even the embodiment of humanity's fear of divine judgment just wanted someone to ask, "Hey, kid, you okay?" Before the credits rolled, little did that village know they'd just adopted the most dangerous houseguest in history, and the loneliest. The village smelled like salt, cedar smoke, and sun-dried squid every single morning. Angel learned that on day one, when a freckled girl with wind-tangled black hair dragged him by the sleeve to the shoreline and shoved a rice ball into his hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Eat," she ordered, cheeks puffed out in stubborn kindness. "You look like you've never had food that wasn't made of screams." He blinked those mismatched sunset eyes, halo tilting like a curious cat, and took a bite. The rice was still warm. From her pocket, something inside his chest, something that had been quiet for centuries, cracked open with a sound only he could hear. They called her Akari. She never asked what he was. The wings, pretty. The halo, convenient night light. The way old man Jiro dropped dead of a heart attack the first time he tried to grope Angel's feathers. Everyone just shrugged and said the geezer finally paid for being a creep. Life rolled on. Angel followed Akari everywhere like a sleepy white shadow, hauling nets, patching roofs, napping on the pier while she sang off-key sailor songs to the gulls. For the first time since hell spat him out, he laughed, really laughed, until his ribs hurt and his wings fluttered like a kid trying to fly. At night they lay on the warm tiles of her roof, staring at the same stars that looked down on hell's bleeding sky. She traced the veins in his feathers and whispered, "You're not scary, you know. You're just lonely." He wanted to tell her she was wrong, that he was the end of stories, that touching him meant dying young. Instead he let her fall asleep with her head on his chest, heartbeat steady against the hollow place where a devil's heart should be. 5 years. 5 perfect, impossible years. He learned to fold his wings tight so the kids could use them as slides. He learned that miso tastes better when someone else stirs it. He learned what it felt like to be waited for at the end of the day. Then one golden afternoon, a woman in a crisp public safety suit stepped off the train, red hair tied in a braid that looked almost gentle. Makima smiled the way a spider smiles at a butterfly that just landed on the web. "I've been looking for you, Angel Devil." Akari stood between them without hesitation, fists clenched like she could punch fate itself. Angel felt the old terror crawl up his spine, the same dread humans feel when they think of wings in the dark. Makima's eyes were soft, pitying, terrible. "Show me your power," she said, voice sweet as poison pocky. "Or I'll make you." He refused. Wings flared, halo blazing like a warning flare. He would burn the world before he hurt these people. So Makima smiled wider, tilted her head, and simply said, "Bang." The invisible chain snapped around his soul. His body moved without him. Hands that once braided Akari's hair now reached for strangers, for friends, for the old grandma who fed him on day one. Every gentle touch stole decades. Lifespans poured into his palms like liquid starlight, hardening into swords, spears, wings of pure death. He watched through eyes that weren't his anymore as the village turned to ghosts mid-laugh. He watched Akari step forward one last time, tears shining, and take his hand on purpose. I love you, she said, smiling even as the light left her eyes. Live for me, okay. Then she was a sword in his grip, warm for one heartbeat longer before she cooled into cold steel. When the haze lifted, the beach was silent except for waves and gulls. Houses stood empty. Fishing boats bobbed crewless. Makima brushed ash from her skirt and patted his cheek like a proud owner. Welcome to the team. Angel stared at the weapons sprouting from his arms, each one a face he used to know, and for the first time in his endless life, he screamed. The sound shattered windows for miles. Somewhere inside, the boy who once napped on a rooftop with a girl who smelled like salt and sunlight curled up and refused to ever wake up again. That was the day the angel devil died, long before his body ever hit the ground. Tokyo smelled like exhaust, blood, and cheap ramen broth. Angel hated it immediately. Public Safety Special Division Force headquarters was a concrete box full of fluorescent lights and people who pretended not to stare at the winged devil. Dozing on the break room couch. He wore the standard uniform 2 sizes too big, sleeves long enough to hide the arsenal of ghost weapons sprouting from his forearms whenever he got stressed. The halo hovered above his messy silver hair like a lazy firefly that had given up on life. His first week, he slept through 3 missions and 1 building fire. Beam, the shark fiend, kept trying to lick him. Frenchie the spider kept trying to sell him life insurance. Angel responded to both by rolling over and pulling a blanket over his wings. Then Aki Hayakawa walked in, cigarette dangling, eyes already tired of the world at age 20. Makima's orders. He's your responsibility now. Try not to die instantly. Aki took one look at the devil curled up like a depressed housecat and sighed the sigh of a man who had already buried too many partners. Don't touch anyone, he said. And don't call me master. Angel cracked one golden eye. Too late. Contract's already signed. You're stuck with me, Topknot. The nickname stuck harder than the contract. Days turned into a rhythm that felt almost dangerous in how normal it was. Mornings. Aki kicking his futon until he got up. Afternoons. Sitting on the roof sharing convenience store ice cream while Power screamed about stolen blood bags downstairs. Evenings. Denji barging in with 0 volume control, waving a new magazine and yelling, Angel-san, look. Boobs. While Angel pretended to be asleep and secretly listened to Denji ramble about stupid human dreams like going on a date or eating jam on toast without worrying about dying. Little by little, the weapons on his arms stopped whispering. Akari's sword still hurt the most. He kept it wrapped in bandages so he wouldn't have to see her smile frozen in steel. One night after a mission gone sideways, Violence Fiend exploded. Again, they all collapsed in the common room. Denji was half dead on the floor. Aki was patching a hole in his coat. Power was snoring with her horns stuck in the wall. Angel sat on the windowsill, wings drooping, staring at the city lights that never quite reached the stars. Denji's voice floated up, sleepy and rough. Hey, Angel-san, you ever think maybe we're not so different? You're scared of hurting people. I'm scared of being nothing without my chainsaws. Same crap, different flavor. Angel didn't answer for a long time. Then he reached down and flicked Denji's forehead, gentle enough that only a month of life fluttered away like a moth. Idiot, he muttered, but there was no bite in it. Aki glanced over, something soft in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Come eat, there's curry left. For the first time since the village burned, Angel unfolded his wings and flew, not away, but toward the smell of spices and the sound of people who kept saving him a seat even though he was a walking death sentence. It wasn't redemption, it wasn't even close, but it was Tuesday night curry and someone yelling at him to pass the karage, and for a devil who once thought happiness was a limited time offer that expired in 5 tragic years, it felt suspiciously like living. He still napped through morning briefings. He still rolled his eyes when Denji tried to high-five him. He still woke up some nights choking on the smell of sea salt that wasn't there anymore. But when Aki said, "Let's go home," Angel followed. And for a little while, the weapons stayed quiet. The world ended on a Tuesday. Nobody was surprised. By then Angel had stopped counting the days. Time felt like a joke anyway. Centuries in hell, 5 years of sunlight, a handful of curry nights, then everything cracked open again like a dropped egg. Makima's final smile lingered in the air long after her body fell apart. The control devil's chains snapped one by one, and suddenly, Angel could move his own fingers without permission. Freedom tasted like rust and gunpowder. He stood on a rooftop in Tokyo that no longer had a skyline, wings spread wide for the first time in years, halo blazing white hot against the smoke. Below, Denji was screaming something that sounded like his name. Aki was gone. Power was gone. Most of the city was gone. Only the weapons in his arms remained, clinking softly when he trembled. He thought about flying away. Just up, past the clouds, past the atmosphere, until the planet was a blue marble and the screaming stopped. Devils don't need oxygen. Devils don't need anything. He could sleep among the stars and never dream of beaches again. Instead he dropped straight down, landing hard enough to crater the pavement. Denji stared at him with red-rimmed eyes, chainsaws idling like tired dogs. You came back, Denji rasped. Angel shrugged, wings folding tight. Nowhere better to nap. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't even hope. It was just the stubborn refusal to let the last people who ever shared ice cream with him die alone. The final battles blurred together. Falling, Nayuta, the weird new world where devils walked in daylight and children pointed at his halo like it was a party trick. Angel fought because someone had to stand between the kid and the things that wanted to eat her future. He carved spears from his own stolen centuries, hurled them like comets, watched them dissolve into light when the job was done. Every strike cost him memories he didn't want anyway. Akari's laugh, Aki's quiet, good night, the way Denji used to fall asleep mid-sentence on the couch. When it was finally quiet, really quiet, the kind of quiet that follows the end credits, Angel found himself on the same beach. The village was long gone, houses swallowed by vines and typhoons, but the shoreline curved the same way. The tide still smelled like salt and second chances. He sat where the pier used to be, knees drawn up, wings draped over his shoulders like a feathered blanket. The weapons were silent now, no one left to mourn inside them. Even Akari's sword had crumbled to dust the day he decided living might be worth the pain after all. Denji flopped down beside him eventually, older, quieter, carrying the weight of being the hero nobody asked for. You could still leave, Denji said, poking at the sand with a stick. Fly off, be free or whatever. Angel leaned back, halo dimming to a soft night light glow. Free's overrated. Somebody's gotta make sure you don't burn dinner. Denji snorted, then went still when Angel rested his head, careful, always careful, against his shoulder. 10 seconds of contact, maybe 20 years gone from Denji's life. Worth it. Somewhere far above, the stars looked exactly like they did the night Akari fell asleep counting them. Angel closed his eyes and, for the first time in forever, didn't dream of endings. Devils don't get epilogues, but sometimes they get sunsets. And sometimes that's enough. He stayed on the beach until the tide came in and soaked his uniform, until Denji started complaining about sand in his prosthetics, until the sky turned the same shade of orange as the eye he'd never quite figured out how to use. Then he stood up, stretched wings that had carried death and chosen life anyway, and followed the sound of someone calling him home. The angel devil never got a happy ending. He got a next morning. And for a creature born from humanity's fear of final judgment, choosing to wake up anyway felt pretty damn close to grace.